Alright, we've got some fresh data from Vanguard which is going to tell you exactly how you stack up against your peers when it comes to how much you have invested in your 401k based on your age. While the path you're on is unique to your particular situation, it's nice to have an overall gauge on how we compare to our peers. As you know, wages and cost of living vary dramatically across the United States, so there's simply no right or wrong amount that we need to have invested. A great example of this can be seen by looking at the cost of living in Hawaii versus Mississippi. Your money's going to have over twice the buying power in Mississippi. Just watch out for gators. So the data in today's video is strictly regarding 401ks, which is the most common type of employer-sponsored retirement plan in America. However, you may have other types of retirement accounts, such as a pension, an IRA, or an HSA. And as far as 401ks, the 2022 annual contribution limit is $20,500, which does not include any employer matches that you may receive. Let's start with the data for those under 25 years old, which will primarily be Zoomers. In this age range, you're likely very early on in your career, probably making the lowest salary you'll ever make. However, there's also a high likelihood that you're still living at home with your parents, which means you may not have the burden of housing and utility expenses yet. If you don't currently have these expenses and you all of a sudden have a full-time salary coming in, it can be very easy to make really bad financial decisions that could set you back years. However, this is the opportune time to get into the habit of funding your 401k with 15 or so % of your income, or even more if you can afford it. This is especially true when you realize that every $1,000 you invest today has the potential to be worth $21,000 over the course of 40 years. At the bare minimum, make sure you're taking full advantage of your employer 401k match if they offer one, as this is literally free money. And this is typically done as a dollar-for-dollar contribution to your 401k up to a certain percentage of your income, usually somewhere between 2 to 8%. But some employers are going to offer more, and some simply won't offer a match at all. So the data shows the average 401k balance for investors under 25 years old is $6,264. When we talk median account balance, this number is even lower at only $1,786. Now, this is actually a significant decrease from last year's data, which showed an average 401k balance of $6,718 and a median balance of $2,240. This is literally the most important time to be contributing money into retirement funds because the opportunity cost of not doing so is so high. Even if you're not in this age range, you probably have someone in your life who is. So be sure to share this information with them so they can get off on the right foot. But let's say we're at the end of this range. We're 24 years old and we have $6,264 invested in our 401k. If we never contributed anything else into our 401k, assuming a 7% annual rate of return, our 401k could be worth $109,000 by the time we reach 65 years of age. And as I'm recording this video, it's late June 2022 and the S&P is currently down almost 20% year to date. The truth is, there's a significant amount of fear in the market at the moment, but continuing to contribute into your 401k is crucial, especially in times like these. 401ks are set up to automatically invest your money on a regular basis, typically in line with your paychecks. This is also known as dollar cost averaging, which is simply investing a fixed dollar amount on a regular basis, regardless of the share price. Where some investors get jammed up is when they try to time the market, selling out of their stocks when prices are high and then buying back in when the price is low. In theory, this sounds great, but the problems arise when we realize we don't have a crystal ball. We simply can't see what the future is going to bring. That's why dollar cost averaging is great. You're constantly buying into the market, taking advantage of those dips, and keeping your stress levels at bay. Next up, we have those between 25 and 34 years of age, primarily millennials. This is the age range where we're hopefully starting to get a good grasp on what it takes to be a responsible adult. At 25, I had purchased my own home and finally moved out of my mom's house, but I was still learning and trying to navigate the personal finance space. In this age range, you may find yourself buying your first home and maybe starting a family, making it even more important to be well-versed in your own personal finances. So there's a good chance that you're accumulating more expenses during this time, which can make it really tempting to stop contributing to your 401k or your other retirement accounts. I do urge you not to go down this road, as it can seriously hinder your retirement goals. If you're finding it difficult to adjust to increased expenses, do everything in your power to increase your income and also budget your money so you can remove any spending that isn't providing you with significant value. So ages 25 to 34 saw average 401k balances of $37,211, with the median being $14,068. This age range actually saw a nice increase from last year, with average balances increasing from $33,272 to $37,211, and median balances increasing from $13,265 to $14,068. While it's great seeing this increase, the numbers are still lower than I'd like to see in this age range, especially if you're closer to 34 years old. But let's say we're 34 years old and we have $37,000 in our 401k and we never invested another cent. Assuming a 7% annual rate of return, your account could be worth $322,000 by the time you're 65 years old. If you're getting value out of today's video, do me a massive favor and click that like button so this video can get shown to a wider audience. Up next, we have ages 35 to 44, mostly millennials with a couple years worth of Gen Xers near the high end of this range. If you're planning to have a family, you likely have one by this point in time. And if you do have kids, it brings an entirely new element into the financial picture. But you know how flight attendants instruct you to secure your own oxygen mask first before you assist others? The same goes for your retirement funds. Before you start investing in your kid's college fund, make sure you're investing enough money for yourself so that you'll be able to reach your retirement goals. Yes, I think there's importance in investing in your child's future, but ensuring your own financial needs are met will bring a level of tranquility to both you and your children. So those between the ages of 35 and 44 have an average 401k balance of $97,020 with a median balance of $36,117. I'd say if you're 44 and you only have $36,000 invested, you'll likely want to focus on increasing your savings rate as you only have approximately 20 years left until retirement. Now, 20 years is a decent chunk of time, but let's say you're 44, you plan to retire at 65, and you have $97,000 invested. Assuming a 7% annual rate of return with no future contributions, you're looking at an account balance of approximately $420,000. We're getting up there. Next up, we have those between 45 and 54 years old, Gen Xers. Gen Xers are just out there living their best lives while boomers and millennials are constantly at each other's throats. But by this age range, you're likely deep into your career, or perhaps you've had a midlife crisis and decided to switch career paths and got yourself a new job at the zoo. As long as you didn't cash out your 401k, we're good. You may have young kids or college-age kids at this point, or perhaps you've decided you just want to be the cool aunt or uncle, which is totally awesome too, and a heck of a lot cheaper. And an important note for this age range is that once you hit 50, you're eligible to make catch-up contributions to your 401k. For 2022, you can contribute an additional $6,500 per year. This means you can contribute up to $27,000 per year into your 401k once you add the $6,500 on top of the normal $20,500 limit. Any employer contributions you may receive do not count towards these limits. So by this stage of the game, people 45 to 54 have an average of $179,200 in their 401ks with a median account balance of $61,530. In the prior year, we saw this age range have an average 401k balance of $161,079 with a median balance of $56,722. So quite a noticeable increase here. All right, let's say we're 54 years old and we have $179,200 and don't invest anything more. In 11 years, once we hit 65, assuming a 7% annual rate of return, we'll be looking at $386,000. So even though the average account balance from this age bracket is technically higher than the 35 to 44 age bracket, it doesn't make up for the potential earnings over the additional 10 years of time. Ages 55 to 64 encompass a couple years worth of Gen Xers, but otherwise it's primarily comprised of boomers. You're knocking on retirement's door in this age range if you're not already retired. If you're still working, hopefully you're contributing the maximum $27,000 per year toward your 401k in order to really beef up those retirement funds. Now, on average, those who fall within the 55 to 64 age bracket have a 401k balance of $256,244 with the median balance of $89,716. This is a nice increase over last year's data, which was an average balance of $232,379 and a median balance of $84,714. Now, since you're so close to retirement at this point, we want to take a look and really figure out how much our current balance will get us if we utilize the 4% rule of retirement withdrawals. This simply means you can withdraw 4% of your total account balance the first year of retirement, then continue withdrawing 4% each additional year, but now adjusting for inflation. To do this, you'd first have to figure out the first year's dollar amount that you're planning to withdraw. Let's say we have the average balance of $256,244, 4% of which is $10,250. Now, 2% is usually what we aim for in terms of inflation, but this year, as we all know, is bonkers. If inflation were 2% going into our second year of retirement, our second year withdrawal would be approximately $10,455. However, if we use use the current inflation rate of 8.6% for May 2022, it would be $11,070. The entire idea behind the 4% rule is that you should be able to withdraw 4% of your account balance without ever reducing the balance of your account. However, since the stock market isn't linear, there are some years where your returns will exceed 4% and some years where it simply won't. 2022 so far is not looking great. Next, we have those 65 and up, boomers and the silent generation. A really important thing to note here is that 401ks were first created 44 years ago in late 1978. So if you're currently 65, you would have been about 21 years old when you could technically start funding a 401k. And they really didn't become widespread until about 5 years later in 1983. I just wanted to preface this section with that information because it likely has a significant impact on how much the older generations have invested in their 401ks. And at this stage of the game, there's a good chance you're retired and living your best life. Those who are 65 plus have an average of $279,997 in their 401ks with a median account balance of $87,725. Now for last year, these figures were $255,151 and $82,297 respectively. So year over year, we've seen quite a significant increase. So if we use the 4% rule based on a $280,000 401k balance, you'd be able to pull $11,200 per year without having much of an impact on your overall balance. The nice thing about being in this age range is you'll be able to supplement your personal retirement investments with Social Security. However, if you're in one of the lower age brackets we talked about today, I wouldn't depend on Social Security being there when you're ready to retire. The latest estimates show the Social Security fund may run out of money by 2034, so there's that. For next year's 401k data, I'm predicting we'll see a slight decline in the account balances as the markets have been quite bearish since 2022 began. It's important to remember that 401ks are designed to be long-term investment accounts, so we shouldn't worry too much about market volatility. This recent market downturn can actually be viewed as a significant buying opportunity. The nice thing about having 401ks is that they're set up to invest your money automatically in regular intervals that align with when you get paid. Now, if you want to see how much debt the average American has based on age, check out this video. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.